Hello, this is Lisa Russick with the podcast We Are All Psychic, and Misty is not here right now. We have Granddaughter Crow back for her part 2 in the Astral series, Astral Travel series. And would you like to say hello again, Granddaughter Crow?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I am having so much fun with this series. I've never really talked about this in a class. I've talked about variations, but this is just so much fun engage with you, Lisa, and your audience and any listener. I mean, quite frankly, if you're listening to this, there's a reason.
There's a reason. You're paying attention to something. And, you know, as we go, as you know, Granddaughter Crow, you have to answer. Do you think we're all psychic still since Wednesday? I mean, you still think we're all psychic?
It's actually 200% now.
It's growing.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It's growing. It's growing. It's just whether we realize it, what we're doing, or we don't. Some people just call it a gut instinct. Some people call it intuition. The word psychic, like I said last time, has this connotation around it. So we kind of back up from that word. But we all have a psyche. That's why we go visit psychologists and psychotherapists. And
what's your definition of a psyche? Like, what is that to you? The consciousness?
Oh, absolutely.
What is it?
You know, this is where I love saying this, because in the thinking that taking a step back, recognizing that the language that you speak, aka English, is the language that you think in. But there are different ways of cultural, things that come in. So if you speak a different language, you think differently. I think one of the most widely known is that with the English speaking language, we don't really put emphasis on the pronouns when we're talking about certain things. But like with Spanish or Portuguese, they put a female or male type of emphasis.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I
or
love
like
that.
in Portuguese,
it gives it personality and
it gives it form and texture.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So like in Portuguese, if I wanted to say thank you because you are a woman, and because I am female, identified, I would say obrigada.
Obrigada.
Uh-huh.
And
if I were, you're too quick.
Oh, I learned Spanish. That's it. I know some Spanish.
So now we can see the understanding of how you speak gives your psyche a different texture.
Yeah, yeah.
And so in the English speaking language, we do a lot of you have a psyche, I have a psyche, they have a psyche, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of the day, we are individualizing your psyche is out of balance, so you go see a psychic. My psyche is out of balance, I go see a psychotherapist.
Yeah.
But in the Navajo speaking language, and yes, Granddaughter Crow is of the Navajo, nation just as well as I am Dutch heritage. But in the Navajo way, the word psyche, I studied it, and it literally goes back to Hebrew and their word psyche, which kind of is this shared phenomenon. And it's like breath or air.
Okay.
So it is collective. And in such, it is less about your psyche versus my psyche, individualized, and our psyche. And the visual that I like to throw down with this is like, if you and I were fish and we were swimming through water, psyche would be the water.
Yeah, that feels more natural than air because we're so used to air.
Right.
Water, something else in water makes sense to me too, more so than us all breathing air, I guess, because it's so dense and we can see it. You can put it in a bowl. You can put air in a bowl, but you don't think about it. Just being air in a bowl.
You can't see it, but you see the effects that it has. And so what I'm saying is I absolutely know that we are all psyche or psychic, because it's not that mine is bigger or more developed or whatever. It's that we are in a shared collective. And how much of this shared collective do individuals want to perceive or understand or digest is the only thing that's holding them, pushing them forward or holding them back from the idea of being psychic.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
I know. Dense.
Yeah.
Being
You got it. You nailed that. That was very, very well unpacked. Listeners, we were talking about before the podcast. She feels like she doesn't unpack all her stuff sometimes, and by that, like she'll throw like a sentence or two, and it's like really like there's a lot more to it. She'll say, and then she feels like she doesn't let you have it, or she doesn't. You said you didn't unpack it, but I think you do great. And so she said, if you think I'm doing that, let me know. But you haven't, and you're doing great. and besides, listeners, oh, by the way, listeners, this is a video podcast. If you want to watch it on Spotify, I forgot to say that in the beginning. Go look at her pretty face and her hearts. So she's back to tell us more about astral travel, and she wanted to catch us up. You wanted to catch us up on the last one in case you missed it, or you just want a refresher. Just gonna let you know about it.
Absolutely. So in the first part of this series, We Are All Astral, with We Are All Psychic and Granddaughter Crow, we talked about the word astral, literally meaning stars and out there, but also meaning this body or this plane that your spirit and or consciousness and or energy can move to or through. And the concept is throughout space and time, and including beyond space and time, that it's limitless. In fact, the only limit that you give it is the limit that you give it, right? Yeah. So we talked about that. We talked about that there are like numerous ways that people talk about it, whether it's astral projection, journeying, visions, out-of-body experience, remote viewing, etc. Meaning that there are so many different nuances. I believe that it goes under this big title that talks about how you are moving consciously within and throughout space and time and beyond space and time. Specifically, maybe astral projection means that you spiritually leave your body and go somewhere else. Journeying could be within you, or it could be to another realm or world. Out of body experience that happens could absolutely, that's definitely your astral body leaving your physical body. So there's all these nuances, but I'd say figure out what it looks like in your definition, because this is historical and it is global and it has happened throughout all space and time, within all cultures, Tibetan and,
everywhere,
all of them. Yeah. And that we each understand it a little bit differently. So if we could each kind of open it up and kind of have a dialogue around what does it look like to you? Where are you at with it? How do you understand it? That I think is the first step. Then secondly, we talked about the 4 bodies of existence. And that definitely is something that's very beautiful. The 4 bodies being the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body. And when we look at it from that frame of reference, what we're looking at is my heart, is my emotional, mental, and spiritual body going outside of my physical body? Which I would actually say in this society, we do more than, embody it. We tend to think about the future and the past. We tend to reminisce and plan. Definitely. And so that would be a very loose term of actually projecting. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And we're planning it out with words and stuff like that. We're giving it perspective, what might happen, the way our attitudes are shaping it. Yeah.
Exactly. And in that, we imagine if I imagine what am I going to be doing tomorrow, I will absolutely go, well, I'm going to be in this house. This is what it looks like. Give it. But if I look at what's going to happen to me in 20 years, I need to readjust the time, the landscape.
Yeah, it's interesting. Misty and I did this one day. It's kind of like astral projection. I was talking to her about moving in with my boyfriend, which I'm doing in April this month. And she was telling me, I told her something about the house, and she got a look on her face, like her eyes had that little. And then I said to her, "You just pictured it, didn't you?" And she's like, "I did." And I said, "You pictured his house and you've never been inside of it, didn't you?" I said, "That happens all the time." Is that astral projecting? Because she just got it. She knew it. And people, it happens to everybody. If you're telling about something you've never been to, you picture it, right? Someone's talking about their kitchen. You've never been there. You'll have imagery of their kitchen. And a lot of times it's almost exactly like that, And then the more you work on it, it just naturally comes. As everybody imagines what they're hearing as their own, whatever they picture it as. And a lot of times it's what the thing actually is, or how it mostly is.
And so with that, I would say we're all astral beings, even if you are an atheist.
Yeah.
But what we are now going to hit on in this episode is the conscious astral travel. And I think that what Misty did was she was aware that she went there. And because of her consciousness and her openness to going, we are all psychic. I did get that hit. The more that we exercise that muscle, the more that it gets accurate.
Yes, it does. It does. Yep. And it's intimidating to try with people because, I have pride and confidence and all this stuff, human, nice, natural things. And when I first tried it, for example, reading cards, it's kind of like remote viewing. When I do a reading for somebody, I picture the people they're talking about. I picture their houses or wherever they are, their work. And they will, if I say, I see a white room with a window on the left and a bed here, and they'll be like, yeah, but in the beginning it wasn't always, well, the bed's on the right, or he sleeps on the left, but the more I practiced it, I would be scared and intimidated that I'd get it wrong. And even if I did, no one minded. They didn't remember that. They remembered what they got out of the reading rather than me trying to figure out if I'm getting this right, and training myself.
Exactly. And that's beautiful that you say that, because psychic ability is something that we feel like it is a muscle.
Yes.
That we need to exercise. But on the flip side, it's also a muscle that we need to relax into.
Yes.
Like, it is natural that something happened within our society or belief system that told us it's not natural. So we turned a blind eye, and now we need to exercise to try to erase what happened in order to get to the natural organic thing. And just for your listeners out there, I want to say, yeah, I am a professional psychic. I have been doing this kind of stuff all my life. And there comes a time, this is the hardest thing. Am I seeing something literally, or am I seeing something like a metaphorical?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Sometimes you don't know. Still, right?
You don't. Still.
Yeah.
And so I will just tell them what I'm seeing and let them tell me whether it's literal or.
Yeah. And even if they don't get it, I'll get the message. Well, they'll remember it. They'll figure it out later. I may never see them again, but I'll just kind of know that they'll get it later. My guides will let me know, or no, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about perfect love and perfect trust. And so with that wonderful information tonight or today, I want to talk about, when you're listening to this, I want to talk about consciously astral traveling, consciously astral projecting. Mm-hmm. And this is what I loved about part one, is that we kind of grew some texture around dreaming.
Yeah.
And lucid dreaming.
Yes.
So dreaming being not just, there's so many different types of dreaming. Another podcast, just saying.
Yeah.
And what happens in that. And some of our dreams are literally us digesting what we what we took in that day.
Yeah.
Just like your stomach digests the food that you ate, your psyche needs to digest and reorganize and come to terms with what it is. But then there's those other kind of dreams, excuse me, that we have that are like, that's significant. I was someplace. This has a little bit of
I had a
meaning.
question for you actually about that. I thought of it after the podcast. Really wanted to ask you this. Recurring places in dreams. Like I have a lot of places, and especially when I was younger, up until I was like in my 30s, childhood especially. I'd go to certain, let's say, there's probably about 20 places. I don't know how else to explain it, that I knew really well that didn't exist in real life. I'd go into the dream and I'd be like, oh, I'm here again. I'm in the tree place or the red dirt place or, whatever it was, and I know that there are a lot of caves in some of them. And like, I just knew the lay of the land. They're all outdoor, but I knew where everything was, it was kind of weird. And I was wondering if that was something spiritual, because those are very impressionable to me. Those dreams were really impressionable. It felt like I'd been there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My husband says the same thing. He's like, oh, well, my landscape consists of, and he gives me, there's mountains over here, there's a valley over there. And I'm like, you literally have a landscape that you go to, and you're telling me the same thing. I do the same thing. That is what I would consider an astral plane.
That's what I think. Yeah.
That exists in a consciousness beyond, and maybe it exists throughout space and time.
Yeah. And the dreams, if I remember, I feel like, and they were usually people I didn't know, kids in the dreams I didn't know, but I knew them in the dreams. In real life, I didn't, but somehow I was really close with these people in the dreams.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that the way, since we're talking about this, that would be your astral body traveling through dream time to dreamscape, which is an astral plane that your spirit understands. And
about something, the metaphor of some sort, but it's a place. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I absolutely love that. And so when you dream, sometimes when you recognize a space, that's a part of starting to lucid, to understand, to be aware of what it is, where you are actually at. So I think that probably happens to a lot of us, but the fact, Lisa, that you are speaking on it means that those are the places that you start growing into lucidity, where you start.
I did in those dreams. Sometimes I would. You're right. About the other dreams, mostly it was the ones where I knew the lay of the land that doesn't exist. If I did get a lucid,
it does exist.
That's where it was. Yeah,
it absolutely exists.
It exists in a plane. Yeah.
Exactly. It exists in an astral plane that obviously you're not the only one that's going there, because there are people there that you've never met before. Right. But I know that these people exist as well. And so tonight, today, or whenever you're listening to this, I want to talk about what Lisa is talking about with regard to beginning to lucid dream, and those regular dreams where you wake up and you're like, that was significant, is the same feeling around astral traveling and consciously astral traveling.
Okay. Oh, okay. Would you just a thought here? Would you recommend someone try astral? Like not astral projecting first, but doing lucid dreaming, trying to get that down first, which is more difficult. I've never been able to, not yet, been able to train myself to lucid dream when I want to, like wake up in a dream. I had night terrors actually, and I did train myself out of them by waking myself up out of them. And they were just silly. The night terrors were like, you don't remember them, right? They were just silly little things. Like I tripped over a log, and I'm walking through the woods and I stumble and I was like, ah! Or my son comes home and he opens the door. It's like, it's just nothing, it's nothing going on. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah.
So what is the easier muscle for a person to work out depends on the person.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
And where they feel comfortable. So to kind of ground this a little bit, I want to kind of talk about what are the how to consciously, lucidly dream, consciously astral travel? And I think that the first concept is our approach, our individualized, ethical approach towards this concept with full respect for ourself and the other, or wherever we're going, the destination. And when I talk about ethics, I kind of am talking about the same thing that I talk about with psychic ethics.
Yeah.
You and I learned these ethics in the physical plane. We learned that if we're walking through the mall and we hear two people have a conversation that we find interesting, we don't walk up to them and start talking to them.
Or just
Exactly. We don't just listen to what they're saying. That's not, I mean, even though we do this,
without them noticing.
Without yeah, but they feel it on their psyche.
Yeah, they do.
They feel it. They're like, somebody's listening. What?
Yeah.
And ethically, when you are physically walking down the road and you see, oh, there is a Native American man wearing a cowboy hat, and he has a bolo tie. So you see this, and so you walk up to him and you're like, you're a Native American man wearing a cowboy hat and a bolo tie. And he's like, why is this any of your business? Just because you see it physically doesn't mean that you are invited in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it is the same with psychic abilities. When I'm walking down the street and psychically I hear something, does not give me ethical permission to go in and interject.
Yeah, that makes me think of those TV shows where the mediums run around chasing people, telling them what's happening. I don't know, maybe they're set up already. I don't know if that's real, but I would never do that. I mean, if they paid me, I wouldn't do that. It's just, you don't do that. I don't feel like that's right to do that to people who maybe they don't want to think about that right now.
And why don't you think it's right?
I feel that it's just immoral, unethical, and you're interfering with their energy. When they're ready, they go looking for it.
Not invited.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I understand those people. They get a high pressure around, I see something, so what am I supposed to do with this information?
They do feel like they need to do something.
Like, why am I being shown this?
Yeah.
And what I tell them to do, because that used to happen to me all the time. And I'm like, you need to put yourself in an energetic space that says, I'm going to walk down the road, and whatever I see, I need to be invited. And if you are strong enough to come to me beyond the grave and tell me that I need to give a message to them, you're strong enough to get that person to come to me.
Right. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like, so I made that agreement with Spirit a long time ago. I'm like, yeah, I walk around, I read the news, I get psychic hits, but I'm like, I am just walking down the road, witnessing a bunch of stuff, hearing a bunch of stuff, but unless I'm invited. And so Spirit, you can't come to me and be all, you can see me, you need to tell them this, because I know that pressure. Yeah. I get it. And I understand the listeners who have felt that. But at the end of the day, you need to look back at Spirit, whatever Spirit is showing up, and go, okay, well, if you truly need for me to talk to that person, you need to figure out a way that they approach me and invite me in.
Yes, very true. That's exactly right. I always just kind of keep a little bubble around me. I don't let the round, big bubble, big space. I don't let the spirits, I don't become aware of them unless I want to. Let's put it that way. It's kind of like a sponge. When I think of it as like a sponge.
And so it is the same with the ethics of working in the astral plane or in the psychic plane.
Okay.
Use the ones that you have learned here. Don't butt in. Don't walk into somebody's house uninvited.
Right. Yeah.
You have to knock. You have to ask. And so it is with astral travel. So it is with psychic abilities.
You don't
If you
go
want to
snooping through someone's underwear drawer in the astral form. Although some people would if they're in 7th grade and it happened, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you can, but is that ethical? And
it's like by the time you got to astral projecting, you wouldn't want to dig through someone's underwear in the astral. It just seems like it. Maybe I'm wrong. I am wrong, actually. I am very wrong because I know some people who abuse the astral plane or their abilities to astral project. I have met people who abuse it.
Because you have been given a license to drive doesn't mean that you're a great driver or an ethical driver or a kind driver. And so for the people who are listening to this, let that be a pillar for you so that you're not exhausted and you're like, I am going to be ethical. Secondly, be intentional. If you're going to consciously journey, consciously lucid dream, consciously astral travel, be intentional, not necessarily with where you want to go, but what you want to find or what I have a question, I want to know this answer. It's like be intentional with your work. Because I have gone, oh, this is fun. I can astral project and journey. And then I'm like, take me wherever. And I find myself in these very places that have not been explored. And so they're like, oh, cool. You want to visit? And I'm just like,
what's that?
So,
What's that?
Exactly. And so be conscious about what it is that you are seeking. And that is you preparing for the trip. I mean, we're going on a journey here.
Yeah.
You pack your bags, you know what outfit, you know your ethics, and you understand your intention. Why am I doing this? And when you have that, then you will have a clearer path.
Yeah, I've never had an intention other than I want to try. I guess I need to be going somewhere or something. If I'm maybe
right. Like go to that it's fun to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So even if that is your truth, then say I want to go someplace loving.
Yes.
I want to go to some place that gives me more information about astral traveling. I want to go, be intentional. You are born from a creator, hence you are a creator. So you need to, don't just take the gun and shoot wherever and it's fun to shoot a gun. You need to be intentional.
Yeah.
And this is like me trying to go, hey, we're going to go on a journey, pack your bags. We're going to a sunny destination and we are going to be nice to the locals and so we need to make sure that we're not being mean to somebody or being rude. And then this is how you actually do it. So with those two things in mind, I feel safe enough to go, look, guys, this is what we do. We live in states of consciousness. And beta state is a pulse that you and I are both in right now.
It feels like I can feel it. Yeah.
So in short, what we're looking at is the brain waves and conscious activity. When you are in beta state, you are driving through your day, doing your work. The breath work and doing the threefold breath brings you into alpha. After the alpha stage, if you drop deeper and slower, you are in theta. Theta is the state that lucid dreaming happens, or that you're falling asleep, but you're starting to see pictures. We only exist there for a few seconds, naturally or within our day-to-day. Then you move into delta and you are asleep. So the muscle that we're exercising is learning how to stay in theta. And so here, let me invite you to take you to alpha.
Okay.
Put your fingertips together. And breathe in through the nose for a few moments. Hold that in your body. Breathe out through the mouth for a few seconds. Breathe in again through your nose. Hold. Exhale. Keep doing this circular breath. Find your own rhythm. Find your own timing. And now we are in alpha state. How do you feel in alpha?
Feel slower and focused. Slower. I'm never slower. It's nice. Yeah. It's quiet.
We did that less than 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Every night when we go to sleep, we move into alpha and then we move into theta. Theta is even slower than alpha. But theta is where you can astral travel, where you lucid dream.
Okay.
Where you meditate deeply, where you get visions. So that is how you literally do it. And we went down one conscious level that's scientifically proven within less than 60 seconds. So exercise that muscle and then exercise how do I get from alpha into theta? Probably breathe that way for a little bit more.
Yeah, you're right. I could feel I didn't want to stop. I wanted to keep going. And I didn't want to say I was tired because I wasn't.
Slow.
I feel slow and I feel like I just want to sink a little lower into it. It feels good. Feels good.
Yeah. And memorize what that feels like so that you can achieve that consciousness quicker the next time.
Okay. Yeah.
So that you recognize that lay of the land next time.
Right.
And because we are talking about astral travel, astral projection, lucid dreaming, of course, Lisa, you want to go deeper because that's where we're headed, right? So if you in sacred space and sacred time continue to do that, you will drop into theta. And then you go to the lay of the land that your set intention wanted to go.
Okay.
And look around and see what you find.
Okay. You know, I did practice your technique from the last podcast where I closed my eyes and looked for things, but I haven't found anything I looked for yet. But I didn't sink into a lower you had said it in that podcast too, to kind of slower your vibration. You said it some way perfectly. And, sometimes I would just do it if I'm cleaning the bathroom or just whatever I was doing, I'd pop out, look over there. No, I wasn't there. It's too fast. I need to slow myself down and prepare. And then maybe if I get used to that, I can do that fast. It's kind of what I'm thinking.
Exactly.
Like you just said, 60 seconds.
And so what I would say for your listeners, do that breathing technique, fingers together, automatically when you start inhaling through the nose for a few moments.
I just want to keep doing it. It feels wonderful.
And exhaling. Do that for 3 minutes in the morning and 3 minutes at night.
Perfect. That would put me to sleep too. Yeah, it'd help.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you can do that more than 3 minutes, but that's where you start exercising the muscle of shifting conscious states.
Yeah, and doing it yourself, doing it on purpose, consciously, shifting your states. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's where your listeners, as individual and authentic as they are, will begin to see what their stronger muscle is, where they want to go, what they want to find, and they begin to astral travel. Always do this in sacred space, just like if you're meditating, when you're home, or, just kind of set it up. And I just gave you an unlimited pass.
You did. And it's just that no one's ever walked. Like, you were very good at putting me in that place with your voice, but it's not too hard for me to slip into a meditative state, but it used to be. Took a long time practicing to go and then be somewhere else. Took a while.
You know what's so funny, Lisa, is that we look at meditative states as something that we need to achieve.
Yeah.
And we reach out
space
for.
Out, we're meditating. Yeah.
And it's something outside of ourselves. But it isn't. It's something that we need to relax into.
Yeah.
So it's not this thing chasing windmills. It's this doing the opposite. It's actually relaxing. And seriously, if you were hooked up to an fMRI, your brain waves would have shifted.
Yeah.
Yeah. In alpha state, it does seem slower.
It feels like my voice wants to go. I want to talk slower because I feel like that's matching what's happening around or within. I don't know. It feels like it's around me too. And everything has like a little glow.
Psyche.
Yeah.
It's the psyche. It's the psyche without the waves in it, right? It's the ocean without the waves in it. You're kind of going deeper into the ocean. And this is actually a place where you get more messages quicker. This is also a state where you can create faster. This is also a state that you can learn quicker, but it's actually a state where it feels slower.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Paradox.
Yeah. I love that. I love how this feels too. And I've done a lot of like when I was younger, I wouldn't think of it as slowing or working with my brain waves and their natural rhythms and changing them. I would just like practice imagery, my own, not like a place going somewhere, but I would imagine things calming me down. And then like, because I've always had insomnia until more recent years. I can sleep pretty well, probably the last 5 years. I'm just so relaxed. I can't, my mind is just.
We literally went there less than a minute.
Yeah. So I'm really curious, listeners and watchers, if you do this with us, don't be driving. I might be able to be driving. I didn't say that. But if you do try it, I'll put a little poll on this podcast because I can do that. I did it on the last one too, but nobody answered my poll. I asked if anyone had astral traveled. We'll put a poll in here for anyone who tries this and what you experience. We'll put something in there. Maybe a question and answer, and you can let her know, let Granddaughter Crow know how that went.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's just great. Oof.
I love this state. I think that this is part 2 wrapped up, Lisa, unless you have a question.
No, I think I need to like try to get to part 3. Right now, I don't have any questions about anything, and that's a wonderful feeling. I like being curious, but my curiosity is, and even you saw Gandalf all through the podcast. He was climbing, trying to calm. He loves it when I'm energetic. And now that I'm calm, he's just sitting there giving me the cute and sweet face, the good and sweet face.
Love it.
He likes it. He's matching it. Yeah, his eyes are. He's trying to,
I really love it. Do this exercise 3 minutes in the morning, 3 minutes at night for at least 21 days. There's the goal. That's the goal.
I'll do it at homework, listeners and watchers.
Homework.
And there was something, there was something you had wanted to tell the listeners about what you're doing. But before that, I would like to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app where you can get advice from psychics and empaths so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And thank you, Granddaughter Crow. So let them know what you're offering. I love what you do. So
I love it. If you have made it this far through part 1 and part 2, thank you. I appreciate not just being heard, but that I appreciate the fact that you are curious about something that I am curious about. And in such, we share curiosity and move the psyche according to we are the fish in the water called the psyche. And I appreciate that. Really quick, if you want more information on Granddaughter Crow, www.granddaughtercrow.com. I also wanted to say for the last half of a year, I'm throwing down every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific Time, a 45-minute live Zoom presentation on a variety of topics. You can find these topics on my website under Masterclass The Circle. And they are at a very affordable price. And if you become Patreon on my Patreon, you get a couple of these. I do one-on-one readings. Depending on what level you're at, you'll get discounts. And I just really want to appreciate you, Lisa and Misty, for bringing this, and also Everclear. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Granddaughter Crow. I love this series so much already. I mean, like I told her listeners and watchers before the podcast, I listened to her Wednesday podcast 4 times because I just wanted to soak it all in. It's so much. And then just like last podcast, I feel great hanging up. So, you know what I'm saying? So listeners and watchers, we love you. We love you. And have a wonderful time wherever you may be or wherever you may be. Ooh. Anywhere. Let us know how it feels. And we will see you probably when she's ready for the next one. Thank you so much. Goodbye.